Welcome to the Forward One podcast, hosted by Paul Mark Morris and Josh Spitzen. And today we have the Barrentine group with John Barrentine and Chuck Marquardt.
Well done. Well done. Well said. Yeah. Not the easiest last name to say.
Yeah, I like it.
Grateful to have you guys here. You guys exemplify professionalism, just great teamwork, and just people that I think we can learn a lot from. So we're excited to learn.
Why don't you start with just give us a little background, John? I've known you for a long time. Yeah,
we go back a way. Yeah, I began my real estate career in 1989, so it's a very different business that we're in today. I mean, there are still houses and there are still people, but everything in between that has changed radically, right? And I began in Atlanta, Georgia, which you might hear a little bit of that in my voice still. I was back that way last week, so it's pretty heavy this week. And I moved to LA in 95 and really haven't looked back. It was a great move for me at the time. It was a bigger stage, a bigger business, more opportunity, and I've loved it. I sort of fell into the middle of the real estate universe here, originally with Coldwell Banker in Beverly Hills. And then when the Keller Williams office opened in 2004, we moved up the street, and it's been an amazing thing. And I've been with KW since, and now at the Larchmont Market Center. So it has been an amazing career for me. An amazing career.
Love it.
And you started that career, though, in Atlanta as an agent? Or
I did. This is the only thing I've ever done.
Okay.
So I was that kid out of college that didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. And my dad's like, you like people, you like houses, why don't you sell real estate? Like, sure. And I'm so grateful to this industry. You know, as a gay man in the late 80s and in the 90s, like not everything was a possibility. And I thought originally I was going to be a politician coming out of college, and then I realized I was not going to be the Pete Buttigieg of Birmingham, Alabama.
In 1987.
So, in 1987, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I floundered around a bit, and then miraculously real estate found me, and I found it, and it's been a glorious career that I'm so grateful for.
Love it.
And how did you guys connect?
Drinking beer on a Sunday afternoon.
Where else do you find true love?
As God intended.
Yes. And for those of you listening, John's also my husband as well as my business partner, and we met before I was in real estate. So
I did not recruit. Let me just say, I did not recruit you to this industry. He came to me and said, "Hey, I feel like I've got burnt out in my career, and with this master's in public health." And he was like, "I've done this for 20 years, and I think I'm done." And I'm like, "That's your call. You make the decision. If you think this is the career for you, then jump in, and we'll figure it out."
Well, and seriously, it was. I was at the top of my game in public health, and I was working so hard and I was doing exceptional work. I'm just going to pat myself on the back there. And I was never going to make substantially more money than what I was making at that time, not unless I went into pharmaceutical sales or into some private consulting, wrote some books, things along those lines. And I didn't particularly want to do that. It just wasn't my calling. And I saw what John was doing, and frankly, my previous two boyfriends also happened to be real estate agents, because what else do you do in real estate or in Los Angeles as a gay man besides real estate? I don't know, but apparently there's something else. Anyways, so I took a look at what he was doing. I read the MREA, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, that Gary Keller and Jay Papasan wrote. And it was so extraordinarily motivational. And it was just a clear, incredibly concise and deliberate step-by-step on how to be a successful real estate agent and run a business, right? Not just sell pretty houses, but run a business.
Yep.
And that's why John went to Keller Williams, is because of that clear plan. I said, well, I can do this. I've got the skills. I've got the business acumen. I have the ability to speak with people and to analyze and to go above and beyond showing houses. And sure enough, as soon as I got involved in the business and started operating, again with the mentorship of John and all the people here at Keller Williams, I was able to take that and put it into practice at a high level.
And that journey began for you when?
2010.
Okay.
In the worst market we have ever been in my 35-year career. So I'm thinking, okay, if he can make it now, he can make it anytime. So that worked out really well, and he cut his teeth in a tough market, and that was great for us because it was a boost to me in my business. And the greatest thing that has ever happened to me is Chuck stepping into business with me, and that is that it's made my life seamless, right? There's something about having a partner in the business that's also a partner at home that has made all the difference in the world for me and my business, because I don't have to be like, how do you do it? Like, we don't talk about real estate at night. We talk about it all day. We don't have to come home and debrief. Like, he knows what I did during the day. I know what he went through during the day. We get home, we don't talk about real estate, right? We're pretty good about boundaries. We shut it down about 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. And unless we're negotiating something, clients don't call us at crazy hours. We've trained all of them in that way, and they appreciate that, the professionalism of that. And it's been really good. And so it's synergistic. We have different skill sets. We work together really well. We stay in our own lane, and it's been awesome. It's just been the greatest thing that's happened to me in my career.
John, I remember when you had a different real estate partner, different business partner, and the team was very successful. I even came in at some moment in time to talk to you guys as you were considering separating, and I find it so rare that a team works very, very well, that I was trying to figure out how to help you guys not blow that thing up, because you were with a charismatic person that knew a lot of people in LA, and just sort of like that tree shaker mentality. Definitely not organized, but John was like taking care of the clients, making sure everybody's cool, it's all good. And I just knew, like, when this thing, if this thing separated, that the rainmaker was not going to be able to like spin all the plates like John did. And then it's also rare to see the person that's keeping it all together able to then generate the same kind of rain. So I was kind of worried about both sides of it. And then I remember the whole thing. And then John's like, oh yeah, well, Chuck, my partner, he's going to be the rainmaker. And I'm thinking like, okay, how's this going to work? Because it usually, to be honest, it usually doesn't. So now in the evolution of this thing, it's just like, you guys really the beneficiaries most of doing exactly what you did. But I find it cool that, as you sit here, I still am interested in like how much rain are you making? How much, John, how much of the lead gen is Chuck doing? Who's like, what's the division of labor now? Because you really did have the traditional rainmaker, and then John was to keep it together.
Yeah, and great question. And I have had a long-term book of business in LA. And so my focus is staying in touch with those people, staying in touch and keeping in touch with the book of business that I have. And then my other focus is managing the new business that comes in. And we'll let certainly Chuck talk about his role in that way. But it comes down to Chuck more on the new business side, me on the previous, and focusing on our client list and managing the listings and the business that we have once it gets in the door. And so I take them from there. We have a very streamlined way of communicating with clients. It's only one voice plus an admin. So Chuck brings them in, and then he steps out of the picture. I take it from there, and we put the business together.
Well, it's about understanding our strengths. And Paul, you said it so clearly, and this is of course why you two work so well together. You define your lanes and you stay in them, right? Define them, communicate clearly about them, stay in them, right? Until you have to, right? And so for the most part, John actually handles the deals and works as the face to our clients during transactions. And when we get too many at a time, then I step in and take on a number of them so that we can provide that quality experience to all of our clients. I don't know if you remember Strength Finder 2.0. Do you remember that? Did you ever do that? That was 15 years ago, I think, that came out. And it's fascinating that John and I did that. And for those of you who haven't experienced that, it's just a short little kind of soft science exam that you do online. And the premise is there's 35 or 36 strengths, defined strengths out there. And the idea is, what are your top 5? And what's interesting is that John and I didn't share any of the top 5 except for one. which was positivity. So the one strength we shared in common was positivity. And we had very different other strengths, which I think is the point. If you read any number of business books, the whole point is to find people to be in business with who have different strengths, because it's not about replicating yourself. It's about leveraging and working with great talent who can do things that you can't do.
Yep. It's leverage the individual strengths to raise the collective, right? That's the whole premise, right? It's the whole essence of teamwork, right? So,
And I love I love StrengthsFinder, by the way. I used to give them away all the time. I think they probably still have definitely at least an online presence. I recommend it. I haven't done it in a while. It's great that you guys have positivity as the overlapping. That's cool. That makes life nice.
When we did our KPA, that's the Keller personality assessment, we both score way too high for business owners on optimism.
In fact, it creates a blind
It's
side.
actually not a good thing
Right.
for both of us to be so optimistic, and yet there it is, and you deal with it.
That's who we are, and that's the way we live, and there's no way to change that.
ironically, we probably do too, actually.
Yeah.
Right. As I'm thinking about that. So,
mine. I might feel optimistic, but mine actually skews a little skeptical. Yeah. Anyway, do you remember what your other strengths were, by chance?
I can tell you I can tell you
yes.
one of them, and I'm going to speak for you here. One of them is called WOO, WOO, winning others over. And WOO is, according to the book, one of the rarest of all the traits. And of those 34, 35 traits that are there, WOO is the one that doesn't come along every day. And it's interesting. My former business partner had WOO, and Chuck has WOO. And this might sound a little woo-woo, but it's the thing that he is not satisfied and he is not happy until he wins with whomever that potential client is, right? And case in point this week, and Chuck will speak to this, he's a door knocker. Like, we do old school, new school. We do all of the basics, and then we add from there. But there was a property that we sold 12 years ago. We had the listing at the time. Buyers were repped by another agent. It's in our farm. Chuck has been knocking on that door for 12 years. Every quarter, he swings through. He says hello. They're like, we're never going to list with you. Thank you for coming by, but we're always going to go back to the agent. Like, we've been with her for a long time. We're always going to go back to her. It's like, great. Thank you, and I'll see you next quarter, right? We're on the market as of last week with these people, right? Chuck has been showing up at their door. He was not satisfied until he won them over in some way, and he just kept after them until they're like, okay, great, let's take the appointment. We did. We had a really great session with them, and we have their house on the market. That's WOO.
I love it.
That's what WOO
and
does.
to that, I love that, because it's like not taking it personally and just and just continuing to persevere, and with that level of optimism and winning them over regardless of what it takes. I mean, that's a special person for
See
sure.
you next quarter.
Yep.
And it's interesting too that you have a perception of how people see you or think of you, and sometimes you think they like you and they don't. But also, there are times when you think someone is never going to use you, they can't stand you, they haven't said, don't come to my door anymore, or whatever the circumstance is. And yet, you're the one they choose for whatever reason. We had one this last fall that I swear this woman hated me, but she never said, don't come back. And the reason they chose us and didn't even interview anyone else, I'm the only one who stuck with it.
And you know what? It is what Josh does too. He will call and call and call and call. Now, if you say, don't call me again, he'll be like, okay, no problem.
Josh, you may have WOO.
I may have.
Yeah, he's got something. I don't know whether it's
But
true or
I'm
not.
It's
that,
being tenacious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. And at the end of the day, it's like, for me personally, and I'm sure you feel the same, and I say this with all humility, like, I believe that they're better off working with me. So I don't feel like I'm imposing. I don't feel like I'm, and I'm just determined to show them that, or if they say no, then I'm good. But I want that closure one way or the other.
And if I can give these guys a plug, I would say that they could confidently knock on any door or call. Certainly old clients already know, but they could knock on any door and really believe that they're going to give better service, better everything, because these guys are really phenomenal.
That's it. And Josh, I love that you said that, and that is one of the things that we talk about on our team, because people feel like, oh, well, I'm bothering them. I mean, I'm calling them, but I'm bugging them. It's like, no. If you love your fellow man, if you care about other people, whether you're really in relationship with them yet or not, if you care about your fellow man, we believe on our team that it is incumbent upon us to, in some way, have a meaningful enough of a conversation with that prospective client that they understand who we are, they understand how we operate, and they understand that we are there to make life better for them. And there are so many people in this business, and I say this with respect for the industry, there are a lot of people out there that don't look at those opportunities and those clients in that way. They're not in the business for what's best for the client, which is our fiduciary responsibility, but what's in it for me in transactional and next. And we don't look at our business that way, and that is one of the things that has kept me in business now for 35, 36 years. And that is, we believe that we are there to save them from falling into the wrong hands. And that's what I'm hearing you say, like you present your value, to others and take it or not take it, but do you believe, as we believe, that they are better because of the relationship with you, right? Yep. At the end of the day. And that's the way so you never have to apologize, right? You never have to apologize for contacting someone over and over, because that is your job, right? To help them not fall into, because sometimes they don't know the difference, right, between you and someone else.
And we always say, Paul, I got this from Paul, like we want to be, and we believe we are, the vehicle for their success.
That's it.
Right?
That's it.
Yeah. We've actually, you rarely get one of those really great feedback moments from your clients where they say, and we've had this happen relatively recently. We didn't realize we were going to buy another property. That wasn't on the agenda. We went to see a property and we realized we wanted it, and we just decided to work with the listing agent. And they called us after they were in escrow and said, we've made a mistake. We didn't realize, because they'd only ever used us for those 2 or 3 transactions that they'd used us for before, right? So this is someone that we hadn't just won over once, we'd won over a couple of times and had great experiences with. And then they call us in the middle of escrow, and of course we're going to help without treading on the relationship. So you called us, let's be very clear about this, and we're happy to help you think through what the next steps are, with no compensation. That's not what we're here for. We're here to help you. And they ended up not going through with that transaction, and then we did end up closing something with them after that, because you come from a place of service, right? It's not always about the money, it's about the relationship. But it was very gratifying for someone who had just assumed that all realtors provided the same level of service that the people at this table would provide, and then realizing that's not the case, because you don't know what you don't know.
That's it.
Yep. So you guys, tell us a little bit about your team and the structure of your team, and to whatever degree there's been an evolution in that.
And also, we should have started maybe too with like, give us an idea of like volume transactions. What's a good year? What's a normal year?
Well, there's been an ebb and flow, right, over the years, as there naturally would be. The team has been larger and smaller. We've been as many as 7, 8 agents at a time on the team, with 4 or 5 admin, and we are now a smaller team with 4 agents and 2 full-time admin, part-time TC, a part-time social media videographer that we are in love with, and all of that just makes life better. And we have found recently we can be even more profitable at the moment with a smaller, more powerful team than we can with larger teams that we've had in the past. So on a good year,
we're 75 to 80 million.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
a nice year for
on
us.
a bad year, we're closer to 35.
Yeah,
and
in our part of town, we're bread and butter for us is that kind of $2 million house. Like, that's all day long in all of the neighborhoods and all of our farm areas. So we're in that 1.5 to 3 million range, for the most part. So it's a nice price point. So we don't have to sell a jillion homes, which we're happy about, in order to achieve our goal, in order to set us up for the future, as we're still working on. So, but we're super happy with where we are. We've got the right people in the right seats at the moment, and that's comforting. And the business feels good. We love the people that we're in business with. We're grateful for them. They're grateful for us. And it's in 2026 is shaping up to be a really amazing year.
We've found that it's more important who you're in business with than necessarily what their productivity is. Now, we have really great agents on our team right now, and so we're super happy with that. But it's more the culture that they bring and that they look for with us that has made, frankly, the last year has been one of the most satisfying years in real estate that I've had, even though it wasn't the most productive.
Wow.
From a volume perspective.
So let me ask you, the people on your team, do you look for newer agents? Do you look for experienced agents? Because I get asked that all the time, and I'd love to hear the different answers and the different perspectives on that. I guess really, what do you look for when you look for an
Talent.
agent?
We look for talent, and that might mean
And a cultural fit.
But traditionally, we've looked for talent, regardless of whether they have real estate experience or not. We have found that recruiting people from high-end hospitality, so if they've worked at the Ritz-Carlton, if they've worked at Crustacean, if they've worked at high-end hospitality fields and been successful in them, they're very likely going to be a really good agent, and that's proved itself time and again. But most importantly, we're looking for a cultural fit.
Yeah, and on a team, right, it's great to have the superstar. It's usually short-lived. I mean, it burns fast and it flies out, and we're not really interested in that. We've been there. A lot comes along with that superstar status, and so we find that we can get to more business at the end of the day if we're not working with egos that keep us from doing that. Right. So it's great to have, superstar is great, but to us at this point in our career, it's even more important to have people that are thankful for where they are. We're thankful for them. They're thankful for us. It's a really great, nurturing, symbiotic relationship. And it's a love fest every day at the office. You come in the morning, everybody hugs everybody. Everybody's glad to see everyone. It's just a feel good all day. And that is more meaningful to me than a couple more transactions a year, right? I mean, it's what we do. We spend so much time with it. And if I'm not enjoying it, what in the world is the point of the conversation, right? I mean, when Chuck says, I wake up in the morning thinking, how can I enjoy today? How can I have fun? How can I do something meaningful? How can I get something out of it? What can I do today that feels good to me? And that's the way I live.
So grateful,
right?
I guess, is how I.
Well, it's not always the most profitable day,
right?
I mean, it's not that's not the way to the highest at the end of the year, and yet I'd rather do that and leave a little money on the table. I'd rather do that and be in business with people that we love being in business with.
Yeah.
And when you look for that person, and I understand what you mean about the superstar versus,
competent, always competent,
yeah.
Right? So we've got standards. And
so, for example, one of my closest friends, came from a different industry, came from the entertainment industry, flamed out for various reasons, was kind of finding his way as a middle-aged guy. I was like, you should try real estate. He is phenomenal. I'll bet you he's got woo, but he has no ability to run a business. Maybe he's gonna watch this. He'll know I'm talking about him. Okay, but he doesn't have the structure is the issue.
Yeah.
So is your ideal agent? Are they gonna come with a book of business? So I'm an existing agent. I'm doing all right, but I'm gonna come with you, and you're gonna supercharge me, or do I come straight out of the hospitality industry, and Chuck's gonna say hey, we're not door knocking this area. Let me show you how to door knock. Go over there, door knock, bring it in. We'll close it for you. What is the nuts and bolts?
because we're looking for talent, all of that's on the table. Absolutely. We are happy and have worked with agents who have brought a certain network with them. what I can say is that the agents who in LA who are looking to be on a team are really looking for someone to do all the marketing, all of the work of keeping the team together. But frankly, if you're selling 10 homes on your own in LA at the price points that we're doing, you're fine doing that, you're probably going to stick around as a single agent. What we have had success with is taking on the book of business of agents who are pulling back. So we've worked with several agents who have used us as their referral source for when they've moved out of town, and they're still working their book of business, and they're just sending the leads to us.
What does day in the life look like? And I guess I mean from a team perspective. So Chuck, you're knocking doors every day?
Every day.
Okay.
Every day.
Every
Not
day
today,
for how
because
long?
I'm doing this, but every day.
This is door knocking time.
This
by
is
the way.
door
So we
knocking
can cut
time.
this short so he
Yeah,
can
so I can get
everything.
out there. Frankly, if I can get between 1 and 2 hours in a day, I'm happy, and it depends on what block I'm on, how many of the people I know there who are actually home on that particular day. Sometimes I can only get a half a block in an hour, hour and a half, because there's too many conversations going on.
But the business that you generate is about a 25 to 30% of our business every year comes through door knocking.
From that 1 hour, typically
From that
1 to 1.5.
2, yes.
5 days a week.
5 days a week.
30%. Okay.
Okay, that's what's on the schedule.
Right.
What usually happens is 4 days a week.
Okay.
There's usually a day where it doesn't happen, but it's supposed to. And some days I'll do 2 hours or 3 hours because I know I'm not going to be able to door knock later on in the week, or I missed out a few the week before.
Or there's a podcast.
Or there's a podcast. There's
Yeah.
a podcast.
What other forms of lead gen, if any? Oh, I mean, I dropped in the office. You were calling agents around the country.
Yeah. So there are a number of levers that we use that are pretty standard level levers. We are really old school. We believe that it's all relationship, it's all reaching out, and all of us could probably always do better than what we're doing. But the levers we have are the farming, so geographical farming, and that includes door knocking, but it also includes sponsoring neighborhood events and coordinating neighborhood events. So for instance, we coordinate the South Carthage Festival every other year, because every year is just too much. But I actually got a committee of people from the neighborhood to help do a lot of the work, and I'm only one of a couple of real estate sponsors who are doing this because there's more than enough business to go around.
Yep.
And that has been such an incredible source of leads.
I can think
for
of
us,
three transactions we've closed as a direct result of that.
just from helping to coordinate the festival. So, at $2 million, that's $50,000, $150,000 for doing something I want to do anyhow. That's great. Then there's phone calling all of our past clients, which John does the majority of that. There is, and of course with past clients, there's also emails and newsletters and birthday cards, and we have what we call the Sweet 100, which are 100 of our clients who still live in the area that we in particular want to stay in contact with. And every holiday season, the Hanukkah and Christmas season, we bake 100 boxes of either cookies or breads or whatever, package them up beautifully printed cards and with all the recipes and everything, and then we actually deliver them by hand to every single one of those Sweet 100.
Wow,
and that has gotten us a fair amount of business because our clients are wealthy. They want two things. They want something they can't get on their own, or they want information. What we know is wealthy people want information.
Yep.
That's not what Hanukkah and Christmas are about. It's about gifts and loving and giving. So we give information the rest of the year. We give something that we make ourselves in our kitchen to them.
Yeah.
And we love baking and entertaining. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Why don't you go on with a few of the other levers, John?
Yeah.
And I would say, one of the things that we do, and this is a kind of a Southern hospitality thing, and that is we entertain a lot. We have a lot of clients over. We're doing really large client appreciation parties and spending 10, 15 grand on a party kind of thing, 100, 150 people. And people would say, "Oh, I love that party at your house." I'm like, "Oh my God, you were there?" I didn't get to see them. Right. And so we stepped back and we rethought it. And while it's nice to be invited, it's nice to be at someone's party, it's more important to me to have that conversation. So what we decided to do was to do a lot of smaller gathering. So every month or so, we have kind of a Friday afternoon cocktail party. We invite 20 people, of people that are past clients, current clients, and future prospective clients. Put them all together in a room and let them talk. Watch them cross-pollinate. Bring them in and curate a group like, oh, these guys are all in the entertainment and music world. Like, they should know each other. Like, there may be some opportunities for them within that network, right? And at the same time, they're talking about, oh, have you worked with John and Chuck? Oh, we had the most incredible experience. And so they share that firsthand information with a glass of wine in their hand, and it works, right? And they enjoy it. Throw out some food. I've got a little system for it. It's really easy. It's several $100s as opposed to thousands of dollars, and it's more meaningful because we can have a very personal interaction and conversation with each one of them in a way that it makes it so much easier to pick up the phone next month and call and say, hey, it was great to see you. What's going on? How's your family? What's happening? Anything you need? What's going on with your insurance on your house? Like those sorts of conversations. So it's easier for me to make those calls and connections if I'm regularly making those calls and connections.
Yep.
Right. And so that's been a huge win for us.
It's always like be a connector, right? And the best form of marketing is a satisfied client. Right. So when you can, as you say, cross-pollinate, let them speak on your behalf, it falls very differently than when you're speaking to them directly, right,
sure.
too. So
and they all have something in common, right? I mean, we tend to attract people of a certain kind, right? And so they all enjoy each other. At the end of the day, I mean, it's not like we're inviting this asshole and these nice people. Like they're all cool, right? They're all enjoy each other, and now some of them are in contact outside of us, and good on them and great. Like you make the introduction and you step back and you watch it go, and it's gratifying. It's gratifying to be in that role, to be able to connect people with each other that actually genuinely enjoy hanging out with each other. That's cool.
What percent of your business comes from that neighborhood? And let me, before you answer that, I'm curious because we talk about being the local expert all the time, and the fact that you're door knocking the area that you live in, I think it sounds so obvious to some, and I think a lot of people lose sight of that. So what percentage of that business comes from that neighborhood?
Let me answer really quickly first, and that is, I for years did not. I was against it. I didn't want to live near it. I didn't want it in my backyard. I didn't want to see a sign in my neighborhood that wasn't mine, that I didn't get. I stayed away from all of that. So for those of you that are listening to this, stop it. Get over it, as I had to get over it, and it's because of you.
No, I'm going to hold my head up. I'm going to hold my head up higher today.
No, but it is because of you.
Yeah.
It is because of you.
And because knocking on doors is not scary to me in any way, shape, or form.
No, but we have also made the conscious decision that it's the neighborhood that we care about. We love where we live. We love the inventory of houses. We live in historic preservation neighborhoods. We have something in common with the people. We all live in similar sort of homes. We have something in common, and it makes it really lovely and really easy for us, especially now with Chuck and Toast. So I don't fret about it any longer. Like, oh, well, somebody else got a listing down the street from me and I have to drive by and see the sign every day. I'm okay with that now because we are doing the majority of the business in the neighborhood, and I feel good about it. And other people have, they can have other relationships.
And you have
permission to have other relationships.
You have a vested interest, and they know that. Like, I mean, I think there's a lot of credibility when you're selling in an area that you're immersed in, that you're living in, right? So,
and what's really interesting is the people that we don't wind up doing business with in our neighborhood are people that usually Chuck hasn't met.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I tell you, it's such a relationship field, right? And this is true everywhere across the United States. Who knows what's going on in Canada? But across the United States, what we know is that real estate is a relationship field. And there's lots of different ways of creating relationship. And sending a mailer out, for instance, is a relationship. It's superficial. It's very, very shallow. And yet it's a way of starting a relationship. What we find is the people who don't work with us, especially in our specific neighborhood that we're in. There are 5 neighborhoods that we consider our farm area. they are people that had a relationship of some sort with someone else before us, or more intensely, it might be a family member or someone's best friend's mother's cousin, whatever. They may not be better agents. They're just someone that they already knew or was referred to them by a friend, even though they've seen our signs.
And if I may, we've been talking about a lot of old school sort of business here, and I want to talk about new school business as well. And what we know is, the relationship business has been a really great foundation for our real estate business for a very long time. And we also know that it's changing, and it's changing very quickly. And so we have embraced that. We've embraced it over the years, and we're looking for other ways forward. We came back from this conference last week with our heads exploding with AI conversations, which I'm so excited about, and finding ways to incorporate that level of technology, which it has already been a game changer in our world, into our relationship-based business, and to deepen the relationships that we have with the people that we are in relationship with through tech, right? And then to also, of course, use it to meet people that we just haven't had the reach to get to yet. So we're super excited about sort of where this is going, and that's the thing that keeps this business fresh for me after all of these years. It's not, as I said at the beginning of this session, that it's not the business I got in 1989. We have houses, we have people. That's the only thing that we have in common from that business to this business that we're in today.
And I want to jump to the technology. Before I do that, back to old school for a minute. You said 5 neighborhoods. Yeah, you said 5 neighborhoods. About how many doors is that?
About 2,200 doors.
2,200 doors. And how often do you door knock all those?
The goal is to door knock all of those 3 times a year. Sometimes it ends up being 2 to 2.5. It's hard to get to all 2,200.
And coming back to that question I asked, what percentage of your business comes from those 2,200 homes?
About 30%.
So you're still getting
about 60% comes from sphere of influence past client referrals, and the other 10% comes from referrals from around the country.
Oh, interesting.
From other agents.
Yeah. We also have a lot of relationships with attorneys, trust attorneys, business managers, CPA. So that sort of one-to-many is always an amazing thing in our business, right? The relationships that we have with those folks that have the ability to send multiple clients through the year. It's great to have that one-off with that client that we love. But that trust attorney is like, that's golden business. And so once they have an experience with us, and then they trust, and they get the feedback from the client, and then it builds even more trust, and we get more business,
right.
And more business as we go forward.
We have a number of clients, as many people do here in LA, who are well-known musicians or actors or writers or directors or producers, and they're great. We tend to attract musicians. More than anything, we attract musicians. Don't know why, but there it is. I'm for it. They are laid back, more so. And yet it's the business managers that we do a lot of the work with, and they're the ones that we want to have a great experience with the talent that I was just talking about.
Yep.
But what we really want a great relationship with, their business manager.
Yep.
So moving to new school, what tech are you currently using? How is it helping you? What do you see as the next evolution for tech for you?
Well, we've got a great CRM. Of course, we don't use it to its full capacity, and I don't know anyone that does. It would run our entire world if we actually utilized it. But that's a portion of it.
What CRM do you use?
We're at Brivity.
We're
with Brivity, which we've enjoyed. It's been a really good experience. Otherwise there isn't there's a little this, a little that. There hasn't been for a very long time. We played with predictive analytics when it came out, which to really no avail in the moment. I know that game has changed, but I'm all for shiny and new, and I'm easily distracted by those things, those bells and whistles. What we know at the end of the day is what has worked has been relationship building. So the tech that we're moving toward and the things that we're looking for are ways to stay more in contact with the people that we're already in relationship with, ways to build new relationships via AI, and ways to accelerate the relationship building aspect of our business. Right.
So clearly social media is a big part of what we do. We wouldn't be spending as much money as we do on an incredible social media manager and videographer that we have if it didn't. We're not at a point yet where we're bringing a lot of new business in because of our social media. And by the way, I bet you're going to go ahead and put our Instagram handles on this,
for sure.
this at some point,
right? For sure we will.
At John Barrentine Group on Instagram. But
Absolutely,
but I can tell you that we have secured business because of our social media. We didn't get the business because of the social media. We secured it because of the social media. And it's pretty powerful for us to be able to tell a potential seller, a potential client, and by the way, when you work with us, we're going to guarantee you 20,000 views on videos regarding your property, right? Does that actually sell real estate? Who's to say? What I can say is it's a great selling point for our clients, and it should be. There's something about being ubiquitous and being out there and putting that energy out there, which helps with sales. We've had a couple of listing appointments because of Instagram in particular that have not actually led to an actual sale, not because they didn't want to work with us, but because they ended up not selling. And that was pretty heady. And it's always fun to walk around, the Miracle Mile area and have someone walk up and say, "Oh, you're the Miracle Mile Instagram guys," and that's happened a couple of times, and that's fun. But that's not necessarily building a relationship that's going to lead to business. But it doesn't hurt, right?
Right.
Where we're looking forward right now is in how we are going to be perceived on searches through AI. That's where the future is. That's where we have to really up our game, as any good agent is going to have to do right now, so that when people search, top selling real estate agent in Miracle Mile, even though we're not necessarily showing up as that when someone searches on AI right now. When you search on Gemini, we're not necessarily the people to pop up, even though we are the top selling agents in the area. So that means we've got some work to do, and which we are doing right now, and we're working closely with Paul especially on that, even as we speak, to help change our business, change our practices so that we show up when people do the search.
And I'll tell you that one thing that I found very discouraging about the conference that we were just at is Gary Vee. I listen to Gary Vee. Some people don't like him, he's too brash or whatever, but you can't argue with the fact that the guy has been at the cutting edge of social media. I don't even call it social media anymore. It's like digital presence or online presence.
Yes.
Because that has changed. And you can't argue. You can't argue with where he's made some wrong call. He makes a lot of calls, so he can always go back and say, "I told you so." But he's also made some weird calls that he don't talk about as much. But I'm gonna just say I'm bottom line, I'm a fan. Okay, and then he said at the conference that realtors should be spending 51% of their time on social media. The truth is that you guys are already doing the things that nobody else is doing to get the business that you have, and that is the door knocking and the things that the old school stuff. It's the old school stuff that then is going to feed and help that new school stuff. And the new school stuff is if you're spending 51%, I mean, honestly, if you're spending 51, take 51% of what you're currently doing, there's no more hours in the day. You don't want to work more hours. Your business would plummet if you followed that advice, because you are not going to you need an outsized return. So if I say take 10% of your time and do this, you're going to want 20% more business, because your 10% of what you're doing right now is probably getting you about 10% of your business. So you got to have an outsized return. There's no way that becoming a content creator is going to increase your business more than 51%.
No.
In fact, it's going to drop.
Yeah. What I would say, what you just said is yes, and Yes, and the old school things have worked. I believe that there will come a time in this business in the very near future where even though where we may not have a direct relationship with these folks in our farm areas, they know who we are, they've heard of us. But if they go to some AI format and they say, who should I be working with? Because I want to buy a house or I want to sell my house in this neighborhood. And if we don't pop up, it's going to be really interesting over the next couple of years to see the credibility that AI builds.
Right.
Because I think I'm not sure we're going to get the phone call. I'm not sure we're going to get the interview. And so I think we have to continue to do what it is that we have been doing. And I think we have to supplement that with what's new and where this is going and where credibility may be being built for the future. And so I love the relational side of this business. And I'm not saying we're going to a transactional side, but I'm saying we want to build on the foundation that we have, and we want to enhance that. I see AI as an enhancement to the business that we have, and I want to harness that in a way that gets us in front of more people so that we can keep more people from falling into the wrong hands, Josh Spitzen, as we were talking about earlier, right? It's incumbent upon us to reach as many people, to provide them great service, and to protect them as possible. And so I see AI as a tool in the future to do that.
I always say, like, online presence amplifies the relationship.
That's it.
You can't have the online presence without the relationship, because then they are going to look and see if there's credibility behind that, right? So that's not effective. However, someone who may have less foundation in relationship, but it's very active on the online presence, can jump past that person if they don't have the online presence. That's the point. So it amplifies the reality. It does not replace, which I think a lot of agents get lost in. Like, I'm going to be very active on online. I'm going to be, and I'm not going to have the belly to belly relationship piece. That's not going to be effective either at all.
There are two things that come to mind right now. One is what we want is for AI to save us time, right? I want to have more time to do the things I like to do in real estate, right? And spend less time on the things I don't enjoy doing in real estate so that I can be more efficient, more effective, and of course provide a better service to our clients. But the second thing is the AI has to be authentic, right? And that's where I think we're going to potentially outshine, as we move forward, other agents who are putting things out there that's just not them. It's just not them. I'm not going to shake myself and dance in front of everybody. I'm not going to create avatars that are going to do things that I wouldn't do. You know, I'm not going to create things that are clearly not me, or if one put any thought to it, would, and think that that's going to be building relationship, especially with our past clients, and continuing that relationship. And there are absolutely going to be things that AI is going to be able to do for us that will increase connectivity. People will understand that it may be an AI phone call or text or bot, and no one's trying to hide that. We have a really great set of mentors on this in Houston right now, the Houston Properties team, that Paige and Bob Martin, who are on the cutting edge of what's going on with AI. And they were very clear when they unleashed the AI version of Paige Martin that we want you all to know this is an AI bot. This is an AI version of Paige. And we're not hiding that. It's just a way of getting really great information across to you. But that's not the relationship. So that authenticity is what is going to help us to use AI to the best of our abilities.
And I'll tell you where I see it.
And transparency, sorry.
Yes.
And transparency.
Well, I don't think that and one of the things I do all the time is I will play with every new AI tool so that I can get a sense of what's going on, what's new, what's working, what doesn't work. There's going to be a revolution that's happening because a year ago, they were already able to make AI agents. So AI that's sort of doing things on its own in the background. But it didn't work super well and it was very complicated to use. So therefore, I didn't mess with it. I tried, didn't work. now
That was last week.
that was last
week.
Yeah,
Well, that was last week. This week it's a different story.
This
Like, it's
week-
happening
yeah,
that fast.
Yeah, it is. So there's some of that. Now, here's what I think. Like, and I'd love to talk to Paige and Bob Martin, check out what they're doing. There's no doubt I can learn a lot from them. One of the things that I think. So let me start with the basics, and that is that we know that through all of your efforts that somebody is going to then search you online. And so how do you show up when they search you online?
That's it.
And that is not that you do not need to devote 51% of your time creating content. It's almost the opposite. And that is creating these sort of fixtures, these signposts, populating these directories that are going to that you go essentially where to take it a step further, you go where AI is looking, right? And how AI is looking, and make it easy for AI to discover you. And there's definitely a skill set to that for sure. The thing that I'll say to all of our listeners is that the single number one easiest thing to do is a Google business profile. If you don't have it, it's crazy. Google, if you think that OpenAI is going to swallow Google, do not bet on it, okay? Because Google still, is in the 120 billion profit, last year. Somebody will fact check me on that. I looked it up. I can't remember if I'm exactly right. I will tell you this. OpenAI, last time I checked, which was fairly recently, we know they're in the red. They are burning 670 million a month. Okay, and so what AI is doing right now is ChatGPT, which I use a bunch of them, but ChatGPT and the others, they're trying to give you the best possible answer they can give you, so that you don't go to Gemini instead, and at the same time burn as few calories as possible. Because we all know that AI could read an entire physics textbook, okay? But it doesn't want to, because they're losing $670 million a month. So if you serve it to them on a platter, you know how to do that, it's going to populate AI, and you should basically just make it real easy for it to say, like, oh yeah, Chuck and John, Miracle Mile, they're the best. Yeah. And there are ways to do that, but the first and fundamental way to do it is Google Business Profile, which of course is owned by Google. And if you look at what Google is doing, still people get, I won't have you guess because I have people guess all the time, but traditional search is still well over 90%. Mm-hmm. The overwhelming majority of that is Google. Now, of course, Google has Gemini. They're giving you AI previews. They're not getting left behind. And so you play with the big boys because they're going to, and guess what else? OpenAI and the other large language models, guess where they go first? They go to Google to find their stuff out, because it's served up easily there. So that's the discoverability piece is really the first place to go.
Well, and this is where you're really helping us out, and to get that consistency,
right,
and that credibility,
right,
on AI, such that John Barrentine pops up when someone looks for great real estate agents in the Miracle Mile.
And Josh, to your point a moment ago, I was thinking as you were speaking about, how some agents feel like they're just going to hop online and create this business, and that's all great, except that a huge part of being found online are reviews, right? And so if you don't have the review, if you don't have the track record, if you don't have the systems and the organization and the policies and procedures and the things and a solid business model to actually satisfy your client to get that 5-star review, there's no way you're going to be found online. It's not going to happen through a single video, right? Your video going viral is not going to sell homes for you, right? It has to be all encompassing, right? It has to be this organic, everything feeds everything else, this holistic approach to it, and a really and you got to think through all of that, right? And that's the thing that through all of these years we've been doing on the team is putting together the systems to support the level of business to which we aspire. Mm-hmm.
Right. And one of the best content creators in LA, that I like to watch because I'm learning stuff. I'm getting questions answered about real estate that I don't know. Like, oh, that house on the hill. Like, what is that? What's that thing? Oh, that's Bono's house. That thing that's sticking out over the hill that I've been wondering about. That's his infinity pool stuck. I'm like, wow, that's cool. Okay, and this person gets a lot of traction, and I know for a fact they're getting no business from it.
No business.
I know who you're speaking of. The name won't come to me, but I know who you're speaking.
Yeah.
And it's great video work.
Right.
It's so informative. I follow him.
Yeah.
He's the guy.
I won't call him out. Now we have another guy that we work with who gets 60% of his business from online, and he is actually the only realtor, and we interview a lot of people. We know a lot of people. We know people that crush it online. He's the only realtor that we know that gets a large portion of business. And I will say that one of the things that leads to that is that he has a particular niche, and that's original Spanish homes. So Spanish homes built prior to 1930, and that is his niche, and he dominates online in that niche. So when people look for that, they find that he starts to become very searchable in that niche.
I know who you're speaking of.
Just
and
in the
he's
same
got a great
way.
He's got a great business.
Yeah. And we've interviewed him, Jose. Well, that guy we can call out because we've interviewed him, Jose Prats, and we work with him, enjoy him, and we're helping him with his online presence, believe it or not, because he's got all of his tricks, but he doesn't have that baseline foundational stuff that becomes a force multiplier.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, I now a different thing, which is not the predictive analytics. It's not the AI bots. It's not all that super cool stuff, but is very interesting, and that is Josh and I invested in a company because it was a great idea. It was the wrong time. It was the wrong people. It was the wrong everything. And timing means a lot. And we just met with another company trying to do the same thing. And it's gotten so easy to do. Here's what it is, and that is collect a lot of data about the house. So, for example, I do it in my, it's so easy to do nowadays that I do it in my own house. So I have a project, ChatGPT, you have the projects, I just have my address in as the project. And I've gone around to all the appliances and I just take a screenshot of the serial number. Now, if there were a system, somebody came up and said, okay, here's where John, we're not interested in taking your clients, but work with us and the air filter needs to be changed 4 times a year, and we know because you've collected the data, they've got this kind of thing and they need that kind of air filter, and we're going to include you in the process. And now you get to say, oh, by the way, it's time for you to have an air filter change. Here's the link for the Amazon.
Frankly, I just want to stop this entire thing and just interview you about AI. Many great questions. I want you to be the guest, and we're just gonna
we'll do that.
Talk about AI.
Seriously, we can do that. We'll tee up another episode. We won't keep.
Yeah, because I can barely stay in my seat right now thinking about all the stuff that you two know about that you could take us on.
I mean, I had a friend come stay with me, and she's old school, one of the smartest lawyers I know. She also works on some stuff that the 4 of us at this table be very grateful that she does. And she's like, I don't use AI. You hear about that case they AI made up this case and they argued it in front of the judge and the person got disbarred. I'm like, that may be true. That may be folklore. Even if it's true, that person's a knucklehead no matter what. I get it. And then I was just like, by the time she stayed with me over the weekend, by the time she was done, she was signed up and had the subscription. She's like, I'll never use AI for anything
because that may have been true 6 weeks ago, but it's not true now, right? It's progressing and evolving so fast and so exponentially that everything that we heard a year and a half ago, when all of this really started hitting, it's not true anymore.
Yeah.
And I would say do some basic stuff with it so that, I don't have it write for me. I don't have it. I do have it help think with me, think alongside of me. You know, like, what about this idea? What about that idea? I put in the instructions to AI tends to agree with you, you know, no matter what. You have to put in the instructions like, be hardcore, don't agree with me, you know, like
Go deeper.
Yeah, right. Go deeper. At the end of almost every prompt that I have, I always say like, he hears me do it because I'm always doing it. At the end of every prompt I do, I'm like, you know, think harder, go outside the model, because it'll just stick right inside the model. It doesn't want to burn the calories. Okay, it wants to just like, oh, here's the answer.
Very much like humans.
Right. That's right. Is trained to not burn the calories. But, you know, just the stuff around the house made her head explode, or, you know, or you can now with medicine, you know, I put all of my charts, have it locked in, you know, like you go to the doctor and you're still like, dude, I'm still checking like the one surgery I had 10 years ago and everything else is okay. And here's the family. It hasn't changed. Why do I have to fill in these boxes every single time? You know,
mimeographed.
Yeah. It's just like, and, you know, I have that project just for that. And but I do think there's a way to integrate, and the technology is at this point in time super basic. And my belief is that as it gets easier and easier to build technology, that it's not the best technology that's going to win, it's its adoption. So for example, Follow Up Boss sold to Zillow for I think $400 million. We you know, I know the CEO, you know, and is Follow Up Boss the absolute best CRM? Probably not, but it had a lot of adoption. And that's what they were paying for. You could create. We all know you could create a better Follow Up Boss tomorrow, right? So it's evolving at an evolving pace. But who's going to use it, and how are we going to use it? And if you can use it to stay in touch with your clients, one way is to get really this information about the house, so that you can really be their home advisor, and that's easy to do with AI. And that's basic stuff. That's not like creating a deep fake of me trying to give you advice about whatever. I'm not into it, you know. And I think you're right. The people, and I have one of the greatest digital creators that I know that's crashing at my house, you know, for a while. So I'm picking his brain. I'm like, dude, are we like, what's happening? You know, and he's like, I'm like, are you going to be out of business? And you know, I mean, he's done Red Bull campaigns. He's done the Golden Goose campaigns. He's like top. And he's like, you know what? I think once AI is just created, just everything, and people are so used to like, they're like, oh, the frogs, you know, riding the skateboard. They're like, not interesting anymore. It was interesting, you know, 6 months ago. It's not interesting anymore because there's 9 billion frogs riding the skateboard or whatever. And that authenticity will, I hope he's right, that the authenticity will break through, because, you know.
I'm counting on that.
Yeah, me too.
I do want to up my adoption rate, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, absolutely.
I think when you take a look at amazing technological strides over the last 200 years, right? There's still something, people want a human connection. Mm-hmm. People are starving for community and connection. And frankly, that's going to win out every time. So there are things that AI is going to be able to do for us. It's going to be amazing, and it's going to be time saving, and we're going to reach other people, and we're going to be able to reach other people in an authentic way. But it still has to be a human connection for them to want to work with us.
It's a, you know, Gary Keller said something. It's like human enabled.
Oh yeah, no, it's a tech.
Right.
Is it going to be the tech enabled agent or the agent enabled tech? And Gary maintains that it's going to be the agent aided by technology, and I do believe that's true. But I also believe that if you are the agent that is not getting enabled by technology, you're going to have a problem.
Limited. You're going to be limited.
You're going to be limited. Yeah.
Yep.
You still might do good, and you still have a good business, but you're going to be limited.
Correct.
And this is an even bigger conversation, and we don't have to get too far into this, but I did read a really interesting article this morning that talks about native AI users. In the generation that is born now, that for whom AI will be native, may not, to your point a moment ago, Chuck, may not be able to discern between AI and the actual human connection. And so it's going to be really interesting to see where this is going. And this is, for some people can be the creepy side of it, but that is that, if as AI continues to evolve and AI gives you the things that you're looking for, which is warmth, comfort, agreeing with you, a thought process, some feedback, like all of the things that AI is able to provide are the same things that people go to other humans for today. And so in those conversations, because they've been getting it all of their life in this way, will there be a difference there? Now, until robots can throw my clients in the car and ride them around and write offers, I'm still in business. But I think there's a really interesting future to all of this. And I think for those of us that are closed-minded and continuing to think that we're going to be able to continue to do business the way we've always done business, I think you have a problem and you're not even aware of it yet.
You got to be
have
willing.
an inkling, but you're sticking your head in the sand.
It gets back to nothing's been different. If you're not willing to change and adapt and evolve, you're going to get left behind. I don't care.
AI is never going to be able to do? AI is never going to be able to do this. And this is why there's hope for real estate agents and other great professions that require relationship. AI is not going to be able to take a look at that client who's just lost their mother and see them trying to keep a good face, trying to be strong, and you know what, we're just taking care of things here, and you look and you see that they're about ready to cry, and their AI is not going to be able to give them that moment and say and give them a hug. Frankly, sometimes I'm sorry, I'm tearing up a little because this just happened earlier this week. She just lost her mom like a month ago, and then she's got a reverse mortgage on her place, and she's got to get this stuff taken care of right now. And there's an entire house filled of memories with her mom, that she has to go through. And we got to sit across from her and stop the conversation and say, "How are you feeling right now?" And let her just have her moment and get to it, because we're not going to move forward beyond this. We're not going to be able to help her until we acknowledge and support her in that moment with what she's feeling. And I think that's where we're absolutely always going to come out over and above AI.
Empathy and literally a human touch, like literally.
Saved by the hug.
Saved by the hug. And frankly, a nice Southern accent helps.
For sure.
Nice Southern accent helps, John Barrentine.
For sure.
Yep.
And I do think that until we're living in absolute cookie cutter houses, that's not saying until, because that's never going to happen. So
not in Los Angeles.
Not in Los Angeles. So if you've got a cookie cutter house, and it is the reason why travel agents were among the first to fall, and that is because I'm embarrassed to admit that, for $3 less, I will click on this site instead of that site because seat 6A from, LAX to LaGuardia is the same as 6 seat A no matter where you buy it. And so why not spend $7 less and get it from a new website instead of a travel agent. Now, the flip side of it is I never really know where to go. I probably am one of the few people, like, a travel agent could really help me,
Right.
Like, where should I go?
It'll change your life.
Yeah,
let me tell you, it'll change your life.
Yeah,
I've never used one, and
It's curation.
It's curation.
Yeah.
But real estate, certain things, AI is never going to give you a place to sleep, so you're going to have a home. People want to have a home that matches their personality and lifestyle, and then homes are so different, and local knowledge is so important that it's one of the largest assets, or the largest asset for the majority of Americans. So you have, at the end of the day, you have something that is too personal to just hand off to.
When the product or the service are a commodity, then there's limited opportunity to create curation, for lack of a better way to put it. When you have homes that are so unique in different neighborhoods, different views, that creates a real opportunity to create curation and value. And that's where a great real estate agent comes into play to create significant value.
Here's the good news for agents. When I asked AI the other day, of the things that I'm doing, how much of the work that I'm doing now will AI do and replace? Like, you're coming for me, how much? The answer was 80%, which I found so interesting. Like, we're back to the Pareto rule, right? Like, so if AI is going to take over 80% of the things that I do, genius, take my 80. That leaves me with the 20% of the things that I enjoy, that are dollar productive, that are meaningful to me, where I can make a difference with my clients. Like, I want that 20. I'll give that 80 away all day long. I do that with staff now. Like, take it. That's yours. Like, take it. And when I can do that in a more efficient and effective way via AI, all the better. And so I welcome it with open arms, that I'm going to be able to give that 80 away to something that is competent, that is reliable, that will do its thing, that I can count on doing every day, that doesn't call in sick, that doesn't have a bad day, that doesn't have, like, that's all great. And I can continue to focus on the things that I enjoy focusing on, and maybe even more so. So that's the hope for me in this business.
Sure.
Is that I can get rid of the 80 and I can keep the 20 that I love.
Yeah.
And how do you get phenomenal, even better at the 20, right?
Yeah, well, by focusing, right? Like, the more you can focus on the 20 and forget about that, the better you get at the 20. So all day long on that, man, all day long.
Yep.
So that's the cool part, and that's the part I'm excited about.
Yep.
I love it. So fire around. I love it. It's been great, and we'll when we turn the camera off or not, we'll go through the online presence stuff, which will be fun. But in the meantime, we do a fire round. So these are great questions, sometimes deep questions, and we can go on and on and on. But we reserve. We don't say anything so that it's a fire round.
This hasn't been deep enough. All right, go ahead.
So how do you want to do it? I'll ask John, and then you can ask Chuck, and we'll sort of go through it. Okay.
Yep.
So John, what is your idea of perfect happiness?
My idea of perfect happiness is doing what I want to do at every moment of the day. And I've achieved a good bit of that, as we were saying, like Chuck says. And when I wake up in the morning thinking, like, how can I have a good time today? How can I enjoy today? And most days come out that way for me because I intentionally create them. Energetically, I create them. And so my idea of perfect happiness is to be able to do that everywhere all the time, and that's my life, right? I only do the things that I absolutely want to do with the people that I want to do them with.
Love it. What's the attribute you most admire in others?
Kindness.
So I'll go back to Chuck because it's a good follow-up. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
I would have more grit.
I'm going to ask you then the same question. What's the attribute you most admire in others?
Kindness. Yeah, we're absolutely on the same page about that. Yeah, kindness above all things. Productivity, everything. Like, kindness is the thing that makes a difference in the world, and certainly in my world.
What's your greatest fear?
Isolation.
What's the area or the skill that you'd most like to improve?
My business acumen. Financial competence.
What's your greatest extravagance?
Food. The majority of the money that we spend is on entertaining and food. I have no idea what our grocery bill is. It would be shocking if I knew the number. So intentionally, I don't know the number.
What's your most fond childhood memory?
We traveled a lot growing up. We would take 3-week vacations in a station wagon with a pop-up trailer on the back, and we would just hit the road for 3 weeks. And my fondest memory growing up was being in Banff National Park, right, Lake Louise, and it was so beautiful. And there were bears, and there were, elk, and it's just, and with my family.
Nice. What talent would you most like to have?
Math. I'm not envious of any talents. I don't. I'd like to be less. I'd like to be more fearless in some of the talents that I have. I think.
Back to the dun 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 dun.
Yeah, I think
It's got a beautiful singing voice.
I would like to be more fearless in the talent that I have. So, but I'm not envious of any talent. I'm super happy with who I am and how I am, and
You're good on a dance
and
floor.
how I do things. I'm good on a dance floor. So yeah.
Nice.
What's your greatest achievement?
It's hard looking back over 56 years and thinking what was my greatest achievement. Snagging John Barrentine, where all good things come from.
I'm going to answer that question for you. I think your greatest achievement are the relationships that you have with people. You have curated an amazing group of people that love and care about you. And I think your greatest achievement is the nurturing of those relationships and how you put that together and the way that people feel about you.
And I love the emotion with which you're saying that.
Yeah, really great.
Oh, we both cry on a regular
Yeah, we're
basis.
crying.
It's sad.
Yeah,
Especially when you get over 50. What happened?
What is with
What
that?
happened?
Do you know the first thing I ever cried at on television? The very first thing that made me cry. I was 33 years old. I was watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, of all things. I was really into it at 33. And it was the one where her mother died. And I'm like, I lost it completely. First time I ever cried at a television show.
Wow.
Well, that's
It's been downhill ever since. Beer commercial comes on, I'm crying.
especially if they're Clydesdales and baby
I
Clydesdales.
do like baby Clydesdales.
What else you got?
So I'm going to ask. We do have a final question. I'm going to ask John, and then Chuck, you can answer as well. Lots of great hikes in LA, and you climb and you climb all the way up to this peak, and you look down and you see your husband, you see your friends and loved ones and family and clients, your whole community, and you shout one thing. What do you shout? Before you answer, so just think about it, because otherwise, tell me when you have your answer, so then that way, when you both have your answer, then we'll take them.
I got mine.
Go for it.
It would be joy. It would be joy. That would be the most joyous moment. Like to stand there and to look at that and to think about that and to take all of that in. That's pure joy. That is pure joy.
All I can think of is the fact that I'm up there alone and they're all down there, and I'm thinking, I'm right here. I'm right here. Here I am. I'm right here.
And you're thinking about
Being with them.
That's the woo.
Yep. You guys are amazing. Just the authenticity,
really.
the passion,
Thank you, thank
the
you.
thoughtfulness, the kindness.
Yeah,
to your
kindness
point,
is huge.
And I'm just such a believer, like you guys are, in gratitude.
Yeah.
Like that's such a driving.
And that's what
force.
comes out in pretty much everything you do.
Yeah.
Right there, your social media is where I see most of you. Right, this is maybe the fourth time I've seen you in real life. Right.
Yeah.
But that's what comes out.
Well, good, because
in your
that's
social media.
that's very
the
authentic.
repetition.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do an affirmation at the beginning of every meeting that we have. Every time the team is together, whether it's a formal office meeting or whether we're just we're hanging out, whatever it is, and we have an affirmation that we do that kind of sets the tone for all of that, which I really love, that we wrote years ago, and we've done it over and over and
Let's hear it.
over through the years.
Oh, you'd think we'd have it memorized right now. We don't, but it does start with something along the lines of we work with clients.
It says, today we recognize that we're. I can't.
It's hard to do it when you. Why are we so boo-hooing
today?
today?
Do it now, and then I'm in.
Today we
tear duct.
recognize that we're one with the infinite power of the universe. And in this moment,
we're open to all the positive things it has to offer. We work with clients that are kind, trusting, loyal, and have the means to achieve their goals of homeownership. We support each other in our work, and everyone we touch benefits from our relationship. We move forward into our lives this day and all others with confidence and with gratitude, for we know we are each blessed with the gift of abundance.
And so it is.
So it is.
Abundance. That's phenomenal. You guys are great.
Phenomenal. Yeah. Wonderful.